What is up, drummers, drum enthusiasts of InstaTube? This episode of Uncomfortable Truths for Drummers is actually Uncomfortable Truths for Drum Teachers. And this one is all about that not everybody you teach is going to be or wants to be a professional drummer. Now, I've talked about this on the channel before. There's even a small percentage of students who don't even want to be at the lesson. Now, I know this is like completely forbidden fruit to even go here for a drum teacher, but I'm just calling it as it is. In reality, I've got many very good and very well qualified drum teacher friends. We all sort of connect when we talk about this kind of thing. So a little bit of context here. I studied jazz drumming at university level, so I got a degree in jazz performance. And I remember leaving that course. I was already teaching, through the course, but I remember leaving that and sort of launching fully fledged into essentially being a full-time drummer and a full-time music teacher or drum teacher. And I just remember being so pumped for it, and I was in this academic mode and this jazz school bubble world of total immersion, just killing myself to practice and fighting for practice times in the drum room at the university, and going for gigs, going for auditions, maybe failing one and then I got to practice really hard to get the next one. And this is, higher level stuff too at that level. And just working. And my life was drums at least for those 3 years. It was literally just get up, music, studying exams for music, playing combo, improv classes, learning songs, and then playing at night, for a living to pay my way through the course. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is there's not some kind of weird flex about how hard I worked at university, but so much to say that I was coming out of this really intense environment. And when I went into the teaching part, I still felt like the student should be thinking like that. So I sort of didn't have a good empathy, I guess, for the student, whereas I'd come out and it was like, why is the student not practicing? Why is the student not as enthused about this as I am? Why can the student not hear this part of the solo where the drummer turned the snare off and did this cool thing and pitch shifted on the tom? And come on, right? So that's when you know that you just got to pump the brakes a little bit. And it soon dawned on me that, hey, not everybody even wants to be a drummer. Maybe there's kids here or adult students who have got better opportunities than that. Going to be doctors or a CEO of a big company, or have some other career, or just have other interests. For some students, it's karate on Tuesday, soccer on Wednesday, drums on Thursday, and who knows what on Friday. It's just another activity. And I think where we can go wrong, where us, I guess, teachers who are coming out of that type of environment, I guess where we can go wrong is we can also think that perhaps the student's not enjoying it because they're not putting in the kind of work that we might have, or with the kind of passion that we might have had or have had. And then you start to, so this is the experience part. This is why it's good to have an experienced teacher, because then you start to learn, well, okay, what is going to motivate this student? Or at least what's going to get the student interested in the instrument? What's going to, keep them going? And I've always been a big advocate of the students not going to get better by not coming to lessons. So what I mean by that is, if we can keep the student coming back for more lessons, and to do that, they've got to be into it. Parents have got to be on board a lot of the time if it's a younger student. And then you just end up at this funny place, which is so simple. And sometimes you got to think back to when you were a kid, or at least when you were perhaps starting on the instrument, of, is it fun? Is the lesson actually fun? Does the student look forward to that lesson? Now, let's say the student is rocking up to their 1 times 30-minute lesson per week, and I've seen this happen, and they do the lesson and they're really nice. It's a good interaction with the student. And then you see that same student next week, and they didn't, excuse me, and they didn't do the practice that you assigned them. And maybe you sort of have a bit of a talk, and come on, we need to get this going. We need to work on this, and they don't do it again. But they're happy at the lesson. Now, as I say, I've had this before. Now, I think at some point in that situation, you also don't know what's going on in this kid's life. Maybe they're really busy. Maybe they're getting home and the parents are making them do schoolwork and they don't have time. Or maybe it's an adult student who's a CEO of a company, and coming into your drum lesson is like a punching bag where they just release a bit of stress. So we cannot be too quick to judge why or why not someone is putting in the practice. If they want to do the practice, they'll be doing the practice. But again, I've seen it where this has happened, and especially when I first started doing a lot of teaching, it was frustrating. I was like, come on, we need to get this going. But if you play it smooth, and if the student's into it and really happy, it will click in at some point. And I've seen students really take off when the timing was right. Timing being right in this situation could be they find out, or they hear a song that they really like. So maybe they hear, it could be anything. I've had students get really into all kinds of stuff. I had one young student not long ago discover the Beatles. Obsessed, absolutely obsessed. Now the student's got a frame of reference and like, yeah, I really like this. Can I learn? I saw her standing there. Can I learn Come Together? Can I, and really into it. And it's more relevant. Getting drum lessons is more relevant to the student. Now, of course, I can show the student songs. I can show the student bands. And sometimes that works. And they're like, wow, I really like that. I'm into that. Let's learn that. Other times, they need to find that passion. They need to find that connection for themselves. And then if it becomes a situation where, but I might actually get the chance to play drums at school, or I might get a chance to play drums in a band, then it all starts to come together. And then they realize, I better get really good, because I'm playing with this guy and this girl, and he's really good on the guitar, and she's really good on the bass, and I'm going to look like a dork if I don't know my stuff. So I think the overarching message for this video is that we do not know what's going on with students and their private lives. We cannot make students become professional drummers. So I could have 40, 50 students at any one time. Now, there is absolutely no way they're all going to become professional drummers. Think about it. Now, you're not going to hear drum teachers talk about this, or any music teacher talk about this. but it's so true. So if I produce every year 50 professional drummers and then have another intake of 50 people who become professional drummers, and all my friends who are great music teachers, they pump out 50 professional drummers, where are all these people going to play? It doesn't work like that. I mean, you're fooling yourself. And then we could get into, look at my list of students who went on to become professional drummers, and you could start comparing and measuring, and this look at the students this guy had, or look at the students this girl had. They're all amazing. There's so much that goes into this, and ego aside, it's not so much about me or another drum teacher. It's really not about us. It's really about the student. I've got students who cannot get off the drum kit. Their parents are saying, hey, this is getting out of hand. We cannot get this guy off the kit. How about we get an E-kit, because he's driving us crazy and we need some peace and quiet around the house. So there's just as many of those stories as well, where it's just, the person has fallen in love with the instrument and just having an absolute time of their life. So yeah, big wake-up call for me. Big wake-up call for a lot of my teacher friends as well, when we talk about this and it becomes apparent at some point in your journey as a teacher that not everyone's going to be a pro, and that's cool. That's all right. Not everyone's going to practice. Not everyone's interested in the Mozambique that you're trying to teach them, or the Nanigo. You get students who want to learn jazz, and then that same student has never listened to jazz. There's so many things that when you've had experience, you just get it. You sort of just get it, and you know where to pitch the lessons. Now, having had my background, if I do get a student who really wants to do this thing and really wants to make a go of it, make a living out of it, a career out of it, perhaps go on to music school, cool. I've got those gears, we can shift those gears, and I'm going to be quite tough on that student. And I'm going to enforce certain things like reading, rudiments, because if you don't deal with me, you're going to get killed with it at school. So let's smash it now. Whereas someone who's just having fun, it's an activity that they really enjoy, and they say, hey, these rudiments, I don't know, man. Butterfly, single stroke 4. And it's like, cool, okay. That's all right. We don't have to do anything, right? Keep it fun. Golden rule of drums, keep it fun. If it's not fun, the student won't be there, right? And if the student's not there, they're not going to improve. Keep it fun. Keep expectations realistic. Understand the odds, the ratios. How many people realistically out of 100 are going to be either a professional drummer? How many people out of those 100 students is even going to play a gig in front of people? How many people out of those 100 students is going to do a paid gig where they're actually paid money to play? How many of them is going to get paid regularly as a regular income to play music? Who's going to go on to be a touring drummer? Who's going to be going on to become a session recording drummer, professional? It's just a reality check. And once you know the stuff and once you accept it, you start to lose some of your own personal teaching ego and status anxiety around these things, and you just accept it. And that's cool. You let it go and you deal with what you've got in front of you. Remember, it is about the student. It's not about me as a teacher. It's not about you as a teacher. It actually is about the student. So What does the student want? What's going to be best for the student? It's going to keep them in the fight, keep having fun. That's all. I'd love to hear your comments in the comment section. Hit me. Ciao.